Now, legal expert Nwora Okonkwa joins us live in studio. Mr. Okonkwa, a very good morning to you. Now, Mr. Okonkwa, let's take it back to 2009, where it all began. The rationality there, it was questioned and it was ruled in April of last year that it was irrational to drop those charges. What is your position on that?
Well, just like every sitting institution that has a certain form of legislation or authority to rule on, they have looked at the reason behind the judgment of the High Court against reinstating the charges. There are inherent technicalities and flaws, one would say. For instance, the NPA is duly constituted, established by an NPA Act to carry out criminal charges or institute criminal charges against individuals in the state as they deem fit, without let or interference. And based on the reasons by then acting head of the NDPP, he cited that it would be unfair to prosecute Mr. Zuma based on the conversation by Leonard McCarthy. And that, for me, is very, very, very understandable. Now, what they have done is they want to drag a lengthy matter, because I don't see this ending most likely at the Supreme Court. It might actually go further to CC. The merits of the matter is what is being rebuked, countered in the heads of argument by the NPA and Zuma, which we are going to see today. So there's every likelihood that it might be kept to go aside or stay. But what actually strikes me the most is that since the DA are the champion of better life for South Africans, because everything surrounds around them, there are a lot of cases I have not seen them prosecute. The case of ABSA, overstepping their ethics, a lot of things. So this is one of their arrows they are bringing against the institution of the NPA and the individual of the incumbent president, Jacob Zuma.
Mm-hmm. But then if we go back to just the rationality thereof, what I'm getting from you is that if we're to prosecute somebody, the veracity of those allegations or charges against the president have never been tested. Now, let's say guilty or not guilty. You're saying that in the process of looking to charge someone, if there's some malice there, then we forget about the charges. Is that what you're saying? That in the case where it was discovered that there was some political interference, then whether these 783 charges could actually stand or not becomes immaterial. You cannot go ahead. That's what you're saying in law.
Basically, let me reiterate the basis of what my submission is here. If I'm prejudiced against you, it becomes unfair for me to prosecute you. I'm not saying dropping the 783 charges is rational or irrational. What I'm saying is that the authority who was charged with prosecuting felt that justice against this individual would not be meted based on A, B, C, which are, there was a conversation between the then head of the Scorpions, okay, and another person with regards to this, and which becomes, a focus which we have beared on the individual. Therefore, pursuing it makes it unfair. Pursuing it does not bring out the equity or equality before the law. That was the basis he dropped the charges. Now, the DA are saying that for them, it tantamounts to unfairness, that he should be tried. Yes, if they have every fact surrounding fraud, racketeering, corruption against it, they can bring it on. We don't have any problems with that. But what we are saying is that the essence of setting up the role of the MPA by the Act is for them to test, try, merit before prosecuting. And that's what they have done as an institution. Remember, At the end of this whole scenario, a precedent will be set. So are we saying that the MPA does not have a right to decide when to drop a matter or to decide when to institute a matter? That's what we are saying. And that's what this scenario is going to come down to.
And then bring us to the question of separation of powers.
Yes, so
certainly a very interesting conversation.
Yeah, so we then have to understand whether there is judicial overreach within this context. And this is not the first time we have seen this. The DA also brought to the CC, okay, an application for impeachment of a sitting head of state. That is wrong. You have to deal with it from a political basis, not the court.
No, thank you very much. That is legal expert Nwora Okonkwa joining us live in studio, talking to us about the case today at the Supreme Court of Appeal in Bloemfontein, where the President and the NPA are seeking to appeal that April ruling that the decision to set aside those 783 charges was irrational.